Picture this, a nation so tiny you could drive across it in 45 minutes, yet so wealthy that its currency is worth more than the US dollar, the euro, or the British pound. Kuwait's story is one of the most remarkable transformations in human history. From a sparse fishing village to controlling 6% of the world's oil reserves, this is a tale of murder, betrayal, and the kind of wealth that makes even Saudi princes jealous. Our story begins around 5000 BC when the Ubaid culture first settled these shores. These were not your average Stone Age folk. They were part of the sophisticated Mesopotamian world that gave us writing, mathematics, and bureaucracy. Yes, even back then, someone had to keep track of who owed what to whom. Cuneiform fragments from ancient Kuwait are literally receipts for clothing. Some things never change. By 2000 BC, the Sumerians had discovered what every smart civilization eventually figures out. Location, location, location. They established a settlement on Phylaka Island, turning it into a thriving trade hub linking Mesopotamia to the Indus Valley. The Dilmun civilization that followed made Kuwait part of the ancient world's most exclusive trading network. Think of it as the Amazon Prime of the Bronze Age, except instead of 2-day delivery, you waited months for your shipment of copper and pearls. Around 600 BC, the Neo-Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar II, yes, the same guy who built the Hanging Gardens, decided Kuwait was too valuable to leave alone. He conquered it with the efficiency of a man who had practiced taking over small, wealthy states. But empires rise and fall like waves in the Gulf, and soon Alexander the Great's Greeks swept through, followed by the Persians, each leaving their mark on this strategic coastline. The year 636 AD changed everything. The Muslim armies of the Rashidun Caliphate arrived, bringing Islam to replace Persian Zoroastrianism. For the next 1,000 years, Kuwait remained a quiet corner of various Islamic empires, its people perfecting the arts of fishing, pearl diving, and most importantly, making deals. By the 1600s, Kuwait had become the Switzerland of the Gulf, neutral, business-focused, and very good at staying out of other people's wars. Then came 1613, when a small fishing settlement was founded that would become Kuwait City. Within a century, this village had transformed into the Gulf's premier trading port. Kuwaiti merchants became the FedEx of their era, moving goods from India to Istanbul with a reliability that made them indispensable. By 1756, Kuwait had gained autonomy as a sheikhdom under the Al-Sabah family, who still rule today. Talk about job security. In 1896, a man named Mubarak Al-Sabah decided he really wanted to be ruler. So he did what any ambitious younger brother would do. He murdered his half-brothers, Muhammad and Jarrah, on May 17, 1896. The Ottoman Empire, Kuwait's nominal overlord, was understandably upset about this whole fratricide thing. Turkish officials demanded justice, some even suggesting military intervention. Mubarak, however, was playing three-dimensional chess, while everyone else was playing checkers. He secretly negotiated with the British Empire, and in 1899, Kuwait became a British protectorate. This was like getting the world's most powerful bodyguard right when the neighborhood bully wanted to beat you up. The Ottomans could only watch and fume as tiny Kuwait slipped from their grasp. For decades, Kuwait prospered under British protection, its merchants growing ever wealthier from trade and pearls. Then, in the 1930s, something happened that would transform this desert sheikhdom forever. Oil. Not just a little oil, massive, almost unimaginable quantities of oil. Kuwait was sitting on a liquid gold mine that would make it one of the richest nations per capita on Earth. After World War II, as oil revenues began flowing, Kuwait underwent one of history's fastest modernizations. In 1950, most Kuwaitis lived in mud brick houses without electricity. By 1960, they had air conditioning, imported cars, and a welfare system that would make Scandinavians jealous. When Kuwait gained full independence from Britain in 1961, it was already richer than most European nations. But extreme wealth attracts extreme envy. During the Iran-Iraq War of the 1980s, Kuwait made what seemed like a smart bet, lending billions to Iraq to keep Iranian influence at bay. When the war ended in 1988, Iraq was broke, battered, and bitter.
Saddam Hussein demanded Kuwait forgive the loans.
Kuwait said no. Saddam accused Kuwait of stealing Iraqi oil through slant drilling, essentially drinking Iraq's milkshake through an underground straw. On August 2, 1990, Iraqi forces invaded Kuwait. The conquest took just 2 days. The UN condemned it. The world gasped, but Saddam assumed no one would risk war over tiny Kuwait. In January 1991, a US-led coalition launched Operation Desert Storm, liberating Kuwait in a matter of weeks. But as Iraqi forces retreated, they committed one of history's greatest acts of environmental vandalism, setting over 600 oil wells ablaze. The fires burned for months, turning day into night and creating hell on earth. Kuwait rebuilt with stunning speed, its oil wealth funding not just reconstruction, but a complete reimagining of what a Gulf state could be. Today, the Kuwaiti dinar remains the world's most valuable currency. Its citizens enjoy free healthcare, free education, and government jobs that pay handsomely for minimal work. The country boasts a parliament with real power, a rarity in the region, and women gained the right to vote and run for office in 2005. Yet, Kuwait faces an uncertain future. With oil prices fluctuating and younger generations expecting government jobs that may not exist forever, the nation must decide whether to diversify or double down on black gold. Climate change threatens to make summers literally uninhabitable, while regional tensions between Saudi Arabia and Iran turn every neighborhood dispute into a potential crisis. Perhaps Kuwait's story teaches us that extreme wealth can be both blessing and curse, that small nations can punch above their weight through shrewd diplomacy, but that depending on a single resource, whether pearls or petroleum, leaves you vulnerable to the tides of history. Will Kuwait transform itself again, as it did when oil replaced pearls? Or will it become a cautionary tale of wealth without wisdom?